it's not just your taxes. If lawmakers can't find a way to work together before the new year, taxes won't be your only problem. Milk prices could double. Unemployment benefits could expire for millions of Americans. The Postal Service could go bankrupt. And Hurricane Sandy relief could be stalled. So what needs to happen for Congress to wake up? Out front tonight, Reihan Salam, CNN contributor, Roland Martin, and Anna Navarro. Welcome. Anna, first for you, the fiscal cliff, the world's most predictable political problem. This is the cover of the Washington Post the day after the election, saying, time to deal with the debt. Everybody knows it. That was the whole idea, right? This was the big plan. Election year is too divisive to get anything done. We'll just kick it to the lame duck. So what happened? Why can't Congress find a way to work together, even with a gun at their head?
Because they don't get along. Because they haven't done it in so long. Because it's become modus operandi in Washington not to get along. I think it might have been naive of some of us, including myself, to think that the election was going to be the magic formula and that they were going to play well in the sandbox after the election. What's it going to take? I think it's going to take for us to go off the cliff. And it's going to take the American public demanding action. I think we're going to see that over and over again. It's going to be the American public demanding action on gun control. It's going to be the American public demanding action on immigration, because we have to force them to act.
But the American public also has to stop acting as if they played no role in this. When you look at our politics over the last 20 years, if you were a moderate Democrat and if you were a moderate Republican, you frankly have been forced out of both parties. So as a result, you've lost the people who could actually bring sides together and say, hey, I can bring 1820 on my side in the House to come together. I can bring 1820 over here, and then we can actually construct a deal. The problem now is you have folks who said, I'm in my corner, and all we're going to do is have a standoff.
Amen. But are you saying you missed the Blue Dogs? Blue Dogs didn't get enough love?
No, it's not.
I missed the Blue Dogs. I have no problem saying
it's not a question of the Blue Dogs. Again, it's those moderate individuals who stopped going by the labels, because the problem is when it came to the Democratic side, if you call yourself a Blue Dog, it automatically was, oh, you're a trifling conservative. And then if you're a moderate Republican, oh, you're one of these Rockefeller liberals. When the labeling actually is part of the problem, you have to have some people who say, look, I agree on some stuff, I disagree on others. For the good of the country, we got to get this done.
So, Reihan, for all the rhino hunting we've been seeing in the Republican Party and the demise of the Blue Dogs and the Democrats, let me ask you this. At the end of the day, if we get a deal, is it going to be the center coming together to save the day again? I just want to remind folks about something. During the whole debt ceiling debacle in 2011, let's not forget what ultimately happened. After we got downgraded, after we got killed by our credit rating because of this division and dysfunction, it was the center of both parties who came together. We had 95 Democrats vote yes for the bill, 95 vote no, 174 Republicans vote yes, 66 vote no. So the extremes on both sides, they sat it out. The center showed up. That's why we ultimately got that done. Are we going to see that again?
I have a fundamentally different view. I don't think that we get solutions from the center. I think we get mushy compromises that are actually very destructive from the center.
Let me push back on this mushy middle.
Let me just throw one thing out there.
Let me ask you this.
Sure.
This shows you we finally got the debt ceiling done, not because the extremes carried the day, but because centrist Republicans and centrist Democrats found a way to find common ground on an urgent issue facing the American people. That's not mushy. That's problem solving.
The center punted, and that's what the center does time and again. If you look at, for example, the farm bill that we're seeing, both from the Democrats and the Republicans, this is a farm bill that is actually making our food system more vulnerable to drought. That's a centrist solution.
Is that a centrist?
That's a centrist quote-unquote solution. And then if you look at the fiscal cliff, if you think the deficit is the problem, going over the fiscal cliff addresses that problem in a big way.
All I see, Ryan, is ideologues on both sides saying a bad deal's better, a no deal's better than a bad deal, and that's an extreme problem.
Let me tell you, though, once we go over the fiscal cliff, and I come to the belief now that we are going over this cliff, we're all going to be asking for a parachute, John. And the markets are going to go to hell in a handbasket. People are going to start screaming bloody murder.
So let me ask you,
that's certainly going to reduce the deficit dramatically. And if the idea that the deficit is the true problem, that will be addressed by going over the fiscal cliff. I happen not to think the deficit is the main problem, but it calls people's bluff.
How in the world is it we can tell our children, you can't get your way on everything, so you, your brother and sister, you better figure it out? It works with my nieces and nephews, but for some reason, if it works in Congress, it's a mushy bill, or it's really not going to work. I'm sorry, folks. If it works with children, it can work with Congress.
Stop the sandbox politics. Couldn't agree more. One last thing. We heard both congressmen interviewed at the top of the show say they shouldn't have gone home for Christmas. They should have been kept in Washington to work a deal out. Do you think if we go over the cliff that will ultimately be a political cost for vacationing while the American economy and the political system was hanging in the balance?
No! Congress will take a vacation the next week. They love vacations. This will not affect any future vacations at all.
There should be a political cost for taking a vacation. You can't fiddle while Rome
we
burns.
should do like we do when we elect a pope, okay? Stick them in there and just have them meet until white smoke comes out. But in the meantime, just lock them up and have them meet.
And actually, I think the Cardinals, that's probably a lot more tougher than, frankly, Congress is when it comes to reaching consensus.
You know, locking people in a room and tell them they can't leave till they get a deal sometimes works.
That's right. Just give them bread and water.
Now, to Afghanistan.
While we're at it.
To Afghanistan.